Philadelphia is an amazing city filled with things to do. Whether you're shopping at the Reading Terminal Market or testing your smarts at the Franklin Institute, I'm sure there's something for you. Hello, I'm Aliah West.
And I'm Peterman. As a globally historic city, Philadelphia has many great attractions. There are many hidden corner spots that people pass daily and don't think twice about. Today, we're going to tour around the city and learn about many of the spots that Philadelphians miss out on in their daily lives. So stick with us and get comfy as we take a trip beyond Broad.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Beyond Broad. Today we're going to shop around the city and find some of the best spots for you to check out.
We have a stacked show lined up for you, covering everything from history to food to art and even some of nature's more intriguing wildlife.
So, without further ado, let's get the show on the road. To start our show, we're going to take a trip to the stage, ranging everything from Broadway hits to a show that's never been seen before. The city is a great place to enjoy some live entertainment. Now we direct our spotlight to our reporters to learn a little bit about the productions and the unique qualities of the Interact Theater Company.
Yeah, so Interact Theater Company has been around, next year's our 30th anniversary, so around since 1987, 88, that was our first season. Started by Seth Rosen and some other crazy folks back in the day. We are the leaseholders on these two spaces. We have two gorgeous spaces here. One is a 120-seat proscenium theater. The other one is a 75-seat black box theater, a true black box, one of the only ones in Philly. We generally start casting about a year in advance. We are a nonprofit, and a number of most other theaters are also nonprofit. We're happy to say that we just got our liquor license, so we're making a little bit more money from beer and wine sales. It means we can also open up the action happy hours that I mentioned, which is great. And people can rent the theater, they can rent this lobby, they can rent our eventual rehearsal room, things like that. Student tickets are always $15, and that's something that we always have. Student tickets are always $15. We have Young Friends Night, the first Thursday night of each run, and that's free beer and free food after the show. So it's a cool thing to just come and hang out. Just come see the show. Yep.
So, what'd you think about it? Have you ever been there before?
I haven't been there before, but it looks really neat. It reminds me of a place back home that actually puts on shows as well. So I think it'd definitely be a good way to kind of get out of the city and see a smaller show production.
Yeah, I would love to visit that place.
As romantic as the theater might be, that might not be really the scene for you. Going out nowadays can really take a toll on the bank account. We at Beyond Broad understand your struggle and might be able to offer some help. Reporters went around the city looking for a great spot for a date for two. The catch being that they had to keep the total bill under $50. They came back with some pretty affordable and fun opportunities that might be worth checking out. Let's follow up to see how you can go on a date while stretching your buck.
If you and your friends are on a budget and need a cool place to come, Franklin Square is the place to be. They got mini golf, they got a carousel, they got a playground, and later on we're gonna go get a nice bite to eat.
Hop on the subway and make your way down to Franklin Square, located at 200 North 6th Street, where you can enjoy all the amenities they have to offer. We first took advantage of their mini golf course where we played all 18 holes for only $9 a person. Each hole represents a different historical monument within Philadelphia. Our top favorites were Old City, the Love Statue, the Art Museum, the Liberty Bell, and Independence Hall. And finally, after 18 holes, we were able to get a hole-in-one. We now have spent $22.50, which included travel and mini golf. This still leaves us with $27.50, so we had to take advantage of the carousel ride, which only cost $3 per person. After a fun game of mini golf and a beloved childhood ride, we worked up an appetite and made our way down to Chinatown. While combing the streets of Chinatown, we found ourselves attracted to a rolled ice cream shop called Frozen. Here they offer many flavors and toppings, so one can join in on the new trend of rolled ice cream. For only $14, a friend and I were able to indulge in their cookie on-call flavor, where it was truly a sweet experience. After a nice day in the city, we headed home with a combined total of $3 left in our pockets. For Beyond Broad, I'm Siobhan McDonough.
Well, I have to admit, I was pretty jealous of our reporters. That looked like a great time. I'm a big mini golf fan myself. Have you ever ate at that rolled ice cream place?
I actually have. I went to one on South Street, so it was pretty good.
What's your favorite flavors?
I got the green tea one.
Oh, okay.
It was good.
Well, we're getting ready to head into our first break, but make sure not to change that channel because when we come back, we're going to check out a nice place to stop by for some cheap yet satisfying bite to eat. Stay with us.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back to Beyond Broad. Welcome back to Beyond Broad, where we take you on a trip through the city to try to find the best spots to check out. As many of us live our busy lives, we often lose track of some of the most loyal and compatible friends we have, our dogs. The next segment takes you to a trip to the Schuylkill River to a place where you can grab a bite to eat and bring along your furry friend. Our reporters went to the restaurant in Riva because we've heard of its reputation for its food. But once we found out that they allowed dogs, that heightened our desire. Let's check out their experience.
For a taste of Philly, we at LaSalle TV decided to check out In Riva, an Italian spot located in East Falls on Ridge Avenue, right before East River Road. The patio seating overlooks Kelly Drive and the Schuylkill River. Inside the restaurant, your eyes turn to the bar, in between their booth and table seating. They are known for their happy hour specials, Tuesday through Friday, 4 to 6, and Saturday, 9 to 11. Their menu contains all your favorite drinks and many craft beers.
I've been here a few times over the past 6 months. It's a great spot, great food, and great drinks.
In Riva also features Italian brews as well as having a variety of red and white Italian wines, ranging in age. Also, every Sunday they run different drink specials all throughout the day and have half-price bottled wine nights. The restaurant's main focus is the Neapolitan-style pizza, cooked in a wood-fire oven, with numerous options on the dinner and brunch menus. For those looking for a deal, every Tuesday night is half-price pizza night.
All the pizza's delicious, but hands down, the Margherita is the best one to have here.
Antipasta and pasta are also popular entrees at In Riva. A bonus to the tasty menu is the reasonable prices, ranging from $10 to $20. We sat down with some first-time customers to get their first impressions on this restaurant by the river.
Well, I love that you can park, number one, and number two, I'm just so struck by how friendly everybody is.
I think it's great. I think it's nice to be able to sit by the water, and I love that there's great restaurants now out in the East Falls Ridge area. It's a great addition.
In the months of May through September, the outside seating is a popular attraction overlooking the Schuylkill River. Along with the plentiful seating, the patio provides a full bar and even an area for customers to bring their dogs, called Puppies and Pizza. For Beyond Broad, I'm Corey Morales.
I love pizza. So you went to the place. How was it?
Yeah, it was a really nice spot. It's not too far away from campus, and they have tons of options for pizza, and as you saw, they have great drink specials. So it was a really nice spot, and definitely when the weather's nicer, they have great seating outside, so it's definitely a spot to check out.
Sounds good.
So now that we've gotten a bite to eat, it's time to move on from food. Philadelphia is known across the country as a historic landmark city. Our next segment takes a trip back in time to learn a little bit about some of the history that might generally be overlooked in this city of ours. Our reporters took to the American-Swedish Historical Museum.
We are standing outside the first Swedish museum in the United States, the American-Swedish Historical Museum, located right here in Philadelphia. Let's go check it out. The American-Swedish Historical Museum, located in South Philadelphia, was founded in 1926 and is nonprofit. The museum promotes Swedish culture through its architecture and artwork. It has a handful of galleries you can see. The Swedes started a colony in Philadelphia in the 1600s called New Sweden, and here is the New Sweden Gallery. Here we see ancient art combined with modern art, and we talked with an employee to see what his favorite gallery in the museum is.
My favorite room is the Concebo room, which everything in that room is made out of glass, so that is actually my favorite room.
We also talked about how the nonprofit museum makes its money.
Well, we get our funding through grants, donations, and fundraisers.
The American-Swedish Historical Museum is centered right in FDR Park, equipped with their own library and gift shop. They also have their own interactive learning system as well as a playhouse for kids, all for relatively cheap. And to top off your experience, you can try on the Swedish Viking gear, so make sure you stop by the American-Swedish Historical Museum.
Yeah, so you went there and it looked like you had a good time trying on some things. What was your favorite part of the museum?
Yeah, I definitely tried on the Viking armor, which was pretty cool, and they also have a small section of Swedish fashion that they talked about, so I really liked that part.
It's great living in a city with such an interesting history.
Well, funny you mention history, because when we come back, I'm going to be sitting down with the deputy project leader of the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge at Tinicum. It's one of the city's natural historical monuments as home to countless aspects of wildlife. The refuge protects and also nourishes life. Stay with us.
A prayer to St. Clair, the patron saint of television.
O wondrous St. Clair, I ask that you bless my television with good reception and good color balance.
I also ask for your assistance in choosing quality programs that provide me with endless hours of enlightening entertainment.
Amen.
Your prayers have been answered. You're watching LaSalle TV.
You know you watch.
My name is Carly, I'm 15 years old and I am a heart recipient. I got my first heart transplant when I was 1.5 years old. I got my second heart when I was 13. When I get my driver's license, of course I'm going to say yes to be an organ donor. I've been saved twice, so who says I can't save somebody else?
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Welcome back to Beyond Broad, where we give you the inside scoop about the best places to check out in Philly for everything from food to entertainment. Right now, I'm sitting down with our special guest, David Stoughton, who is the visitor of the service manager of the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge at Tinicum. David has devoted his time and his efforts to preserve, restore, and develop the area known as the Tinicum Marsh. Thank you for taking this time to sit with me, David.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome. So, what exactly do you do?
Sure. So my job at John Hines is as the visitor services manager. So I'm really trying to make connections with visitors when they come out to the refuge. And so we really focus our energy and efforts around meeting visitor needs, having opportunities for them to engage with the resource in meaningful ways, and teaching kids about wildlife.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. So what made you become so involved? What piqued your interest about this?
Yeah, so I grew up in an urban area and I didn't get outside a lot when I was a kid. And as an adult, I came across some of these really phenomenal green spaces and got involved with conservation restoration projects. And I really kind of looked at that as a great option. And national wildlife refuges are perfect spots to learn more about what you can do as a volunteer or how you can get involved in different conservation activities here in Philadelphia.
Right. Do you guys have any like animals or certain like plants you take care of or something like that?
Yeah, so the nature of national wildlife refuges are that they're refuges for animals. They're places for animals to call home. We want people to come out and engage in those spaces in really great ways that are non-intrusive, like going up for a nature hike or doing some birding is a big activity down at John Hines. So it's a 1,000-acre wetland area. It preserves the largest freshwater tidal marsh in Pennsylvania, and it's home to hundreds of different kinds of birds and thousands of different kinds of species of wildlife.
Wow, so what do you think is your most busiest time during the year? Do you think definitely during the summer or?
Yeah, I mean the summer is when people tend to want to get outside a little bit more, but the great thing about that area is that it's open year round, it's free, and there are great opportunities all throughout the year. So the birds that come visit the refuge are really, a lot of them are migratory, so they come during different times of the year. Right now it's kind of winter, but we have eagles that are on their nest right now, they're on eggs right now. So different things happen at different times during the year. So if you come during the spring, the summer, the winter, or the fall, it's always going to look different each time you come.
Wow, that's super interesting. So how can you say this benefits the community?
Yeah, so the community, especially here in Philadelphia, we don't have a lot of green space. And the refuge is one of the largest tracts of land in the city. And it's incredibly important for the wildlife that travel up and down the Atlantic Flyway. So a lot of birds travel up and down the coast each year, and they're looking for some spaces to stop. And this refuge is just one of the most important spots for them along their migratory journey, so they can have safe travels. And also the green spaces in Philadelphia help for pollinators, and they offer people recreational areas to get outside. So we have over 10 miles of hiking trails on the refuge, and that's a great resource for all of us in Philadelphia to come out there and engage with those things.
I've honestly been on a lot of hikes myself. So you said over 10 miles of hiking space there is? Like, is it throughout the mountains or hills or something? Like,
yeah, so it's all flat land because it's a tidal marsh. So it's actually incredibly flat. There's only a few feet of topography throughout the refuge. But those little differences for birds and for wading birds and for fish, that means a lot. So even though we don't have much elevation, we have a huge amount of diversity in the habitat found there because these freshwater marshes are tidal. So the water comes in and the water goes out a couple of times a day, and that's really important for certain kinds of wildlife.
Okay. So can you tell me one animal that's one of your favorites that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, right now we've had these saw-whet owls, which are really rare for Philadelphia. So that's been a big draw for people that are coming out to come look at those birds. But the eagles are always a draw because sometimes we think about urban areas as not full of green spaces, but they actually are. There's wildlife found all throughout Philadelphia, and John Hines is a great place to explore it. So for many people, when they come out to the refuge and maybe they aren't super comfortable in nature areas all the time, to see a bald eagle on your first trip, that's a pretty exciting opportunity. So definitely I think the eagle is one of the highlights when people come to the refuge today.
Yeah, I think that's like super cool. I haven't actually seen an eagle in person before, so I think it would be super interesting to actually get to see one.
Yeah, Hines and the refuge itself is full of wildlife, so there's a lot of it's not like a zoo. They're outside. That's where they live. So when you come to visit, you're a visitor in their space.
Right. So about how long have you been doing this for?
So I've been working with the National Park Service and now the Fish and Wildlife Service for over 10 years. So I started as a park ranger and then kind of worked my way up, and now I'm basically in charge of a bunch of park rangers that do great education programs with kids and adults all throughout the city.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. So do you have like a lot of young kids at this refuge and just showing a lot of interest, or?
Yeah, one of the unique things about the refuge's location is that we have the opportunity to talk to so many people here throughout the city. And so the nature of national wildlife refuges a lot of times is that they're far away from population centers. But that's not the case here for John Hines. It's right in the heart of the city, right by the airport. and we have the ability to reach all kinds of people that live here.
Okay. So over here at LaSalle, are there any programs that we can get involved in as students or anything like that?
One of the neat things that we like to do is create stepping stones of engagement for people to engage. And through volunteer activities, we can definitely get some students, LaSalle students, out to the refuge. So every April, we host the Darby litter cleanup. So we'll have a few hundred students come out, all different skill levels, come out and help clean up some of the litter that falls along the creek. And those activities, although they're maybe not the most glamorous, they have the most immediate impact for wildlife, is to remove that trash and litter from the stream. But there are also opportunities for people to volunteer in our visitor center or help with education programs throughout the year. So there are a lot of different ways for people to get involved, but we definitely need service. We create service learning opportunities for people to kind of maybe visit for the first time, or maybe have a good reason to come out there and give some of their time in service to the refuge.
I know that's something that LaSalle is definitely think is important, is a LaSallian Day of Service. So that's something that's really good for us to just get involved in as well. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, we like to call when students come out to volunteer, building a little bit of sweat equity, because when you kind of give to the resource, then you have a better appreciation for the value of that resource.
Definitely, and I know that's like a good thing, just also because it just spreads more information about the refuge and spreads awareness as well. So
yeah, our whole idea is trying to get people connected and have a greater appreciation for what the National Wildlife Refuge System is, and also what that value is within Greater Philadelphia.
So can you tell me a little bit more about how you got involved, or how you're involved with the service aspect of the refuge? Yeah,
so volunteerism is a key component to everything that we do, but education goes hand in hand with that. So every year we get thousands of students come out to the refuge for educational programs. So what they're trying to learn is about water quality, about animal adaptations, and about habitat conservation. So they do these different education programs, and one of the things about John Hines is that it was established specifically for environmental education. So across all of the country, it's very unique within the National Wildlife Refuge System to have a refuge specifically dedicated and created for the purpose of environmental education and youth education.
I really like the fact that it's good for a lot of generations or demographics to get involved and just pique their interest about the environment. I think that's really a good idea.
Yeah, the whole idea of what John Hines is about is connecting people with nature. So, we're looking for unique opportunities or just regular everyday opportunities for people to come out and get involved and kind of have their feet on the ground, an opportunity to see some animals engaging in their natural habitats, and that way they'll have a greater appreciation for the habitat and for other habitats that are outside of the refuge itself, but a better understanding of their role in protecting green space.
Right. So I definitely think that's like a great place to visit, and thank you for sitting here and interviewing with me. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
Oh, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Well, now it's time for our last break, but stick with us because when we come back, we're going to have our reporters take to the streets of our very own LaSalle campus to see if students can call our bluffs when faced with the camera.
Three, two, one, action. You may think a guy would be producing this, but I can too. Anyone can find a cure.
Women are being downgraded for their physical ability, but you can be just as strong.
%20 of women are engineers, but it doesn't stop there.
I'm a tech girl. I'm a tech girl.
I am a tech girl.
I am a tech girl.
Welcome back, everyone, to Beyond Broad. Throughout the years, Philadelphia colleges and universities have been a big part of the population of the city. But how much do the students of these institutions of higher learning actually know about their school? Our crew toured our campus to quiz some of our own students to see if they can determine the truth from the lies in our fake news segment. As funny as it is to see, it could also be a little alarming how little some of our very own explorers don't know. Let's check it out.
What's up, you guys? I'm Salle here, and I'm taking you guys back on the streets. Here's another edition of Man on the Street. I'm here on 1900's Alamy at LaSalle's campus, asking students on here different current event questions. So, how do you feel that they serve goat meat at Zilpah?
They sell goat meat there? Well, actually, I don't think I'm ever gonna be eating there again now that I know they serve goat meat.
So, do you think President Obama should be disciplined for hitting his child in public?
Yes, he should, because why would he do that in public? Also, if he wanted to hit his child, he should have did it in private.
So how do you feel that Donald Trump is now trying to pass a law where we have to wear name tags to identify who we are and our race?
I think that's crazy. You shouldn't have to do that.
So, Khadijah, how do you feel about LaSalle partnering up with Lyft?
LaSalle not partnered with Lyft.
So who they partnering up with, Khadijah?
Uber.
How do you feel about the Academy Awards now saying that their guests can have more than 3 cups of alcohol at the event?
That's just ridiculous. I feel like people should be able to consume, how much liquor they want, as long as they know how to contain themselves.
Our reporters definitely asked some pretty tough questions. I don't know if I would have been able to answer all of them. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. They were kind of tricky.
Yeah, but it is a cool thing that LaSalle's linked up with Uber to get students safely to the SEPTA station and back. So that was definitely a good catch that our one student knew. Well, that just about does it for this episode of Beyond Broad. But be sure to find us on the web as well as on our Facebook page.
And if you missed any of this episode, or you just want to catch up on any other episodes you might have missed, find our YouTube on our LaSalle TV Philly page.
Until next time, on behalf of Aliah, everyone else here at our LaSalle TV studio, and myself, Jared Peterman, thank you for watching Beyond Broad. We will see you next time.